If you've ever had issues with lifting, this episode of Nail School is a must watch. Tracey is going to go over the 3 most common causes of lifting right now on Nail School.
So we get a lot of direct messages and phone calls about people that are having lifting issues. So I'm going to cover 3 really common things that can happen that can cause lifting. Especially when you're first starting, you're going to come across these issues. Let's get started. So the first thing that I talk to people about when they say they're having lifting issues is their prep work. And I usually, 99.9% of the time, if you're having lifting issues, this is the problem. So of course, we start by pushing back the cuticle. But people can be very scared of the cuticle area. So what I'll ask them is, are you making sure that you're prepping all the way back to the cuticle? And they'll say yes. And I used to say yes too, but I wasn't. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. So I'll have them sometimes send me video, and this is what they're doing. So they're coming through, and they're coming through here, and they're prepping, and they're following through, and it all looks fairly good, but I want to show you something. If you look closely, right back here, you can see that we didn't grab any of that dry skin or anything that's up and over that natural nail. This is going to cause lifting. We're going to have lifting issues. Why? Because sometimes we get really afraid of tucking right back there into that cuticle area. So what we need to do is first grab a file, take your medium grit arbor band, and I want you to season it. We season it just like we do a hand file. This way you won't be afraid that you're going to cut your customer. I'm gonna grab her finger again. I'm gonna pull back on that skin, and I'm gonna make sure I tuck right back into that cuticle area. Again, it's not on high speed. It's about 3,000 RPMs. Follow through, remove the shine. Make sure that back end is nice and clean. It's the first thing I want you to pay attention to. Back there, follow through, remove the shine. Let's grab our swipe. This is another very important step to prep, is making sure we clean the oil off. I'm gonna clean it. Now look in the back area. It's super, super clean. Nothing is left. Nothing is left that's going to cause lifting. The second way that you can be getting lifting is if you're picking up the product way too dry. I want to show you something. So if we take the brush into the liquid and we pull most of the liquid out, which a lot of us are wipers, we tend to wipe too much off, and then we go to our powder and we try to pick up a nice size pearl. What happens, can you see that? We have a ton of dry powder. In fact, you just saw it fall off on the brush. If we try to put that to the nail, it's gonna be too dry for the nail. So let me explain why that would be an issue. When you try to put a dry piece of acrylic on the nail, it's not gonna wanna adhere. Acrylic is at its best adhesion when you first lay it down. That's why normally we don't have any problems right here, because that's where you're placing it first. But if you have a really dry piece of acrylic and then you start trying to walk it back to the cuticle, all this right here is not gonna wanna adhere, and you're gonna get a ton of lifting. So let me show you what it should look like. If we take our brush, we submerge it into our container. I'm just gonna lightly tap off the excess liquid. I'm gonna pick up my pearl, and we place it to the nail. See how it's nice, wet? We can walk it back to that cuticle area. Everything's flowing where it needs to go. There's no dry particles. Everything's going to adhere really, really well. The final way we can get lifting is if we just apply way too much product, whether it's acrylic or gel. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes with us striving to make a perfect nail, we'll just keep adding and adding and adding product until we have like this really beautiful level 2x4. But what happens, let me show you. Let's put some on. Okay, around the cuticle area. Not even gonna charge you for that glitter stuff that's in it. Okay, so I have kind of an uneven nail, but honestly there's plenty of product. But let's say I go, you know what, I'm gonna add some more because I wanna make sure that cuticle area is perfect. So I'm gonna grab some more, I'm gonna apply it. Not only am I getting it on her skin, which will cause lifting, I'm starting to add a lot of product back there. And I'm still not making it even. So let's even this out. Now we got a lot of product going on. Now some might even add more, but we're not gonna add any more because I think we have enough to prove a point. If you look back here, there's a lot of product going on, especially for such a short nail. So what I have to do is I'm going to have to file this, and I'm gonna have to file this quite a bit. And I know that I used to have this problem, and a lot of people, when I tell them this, a light bulb goes on. Have you ever been filing and doing someone's nail and the lifting starts before they ever leave your chair? It's usually because you are putting a ton of pressure back here, filing it over and over, either with your electric file or with your hand file. And the more pressure you put, you can cause lifting. You can cause lifting before they even leave your chair. Plus, if you don't file it, let's say you decide, I'm gonna just leave it kind of thick, your client has something that they can pick at. If there's a ledge, I guarantee your client's going to pick at it. I would pick at it, so I can't blame them. The more they pick or more pressure they put down messing with it, they can cause lifting. Now there are a few other things obviously that can cause lifting, but I'm telling you, when I talk to people and they're having lifting issues, or when I had lifting issues myself, usually we can take it back to one of these 3 items. So practice this, see if this is you, are you doing these things, and make the corrections.